Guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimple the Limp, and I'm here with a quick video, something that popped up in my mind the other day, and it's Kickstarters that I actually regret backing. Now, I've got one up on screen right now, and thankfully I didn't get caught up in this one. This was just a touch before my time, but I think any of us who've ever backed a Kickstarter have one or two that, on second thought, we wouldn't have gone with. Thankfully, all things considered, I've been relatively lucky. I haven't had too many that have messed me up too much. The whole debacle with Upfront was just a huge mess. Though I was reading over some of the stuff that happened with that, and the way the guy that was operating it just so dirty, so wrong, and how he handled it. Long story short. Basically, he had some creditors that invested some money into the company, and then he was indebted to them. They sued, or the guy sued, wanting his money back because the dude was, selling stuff, making money. And they were like, yeah, we owe him the money, but we're just not going to pay. We're just not going to do it. And what they ended up doing is, because that was back when Kickstarter couldn't have companies opening Kickstarters that weren't US based. Now you can do it anywhere. So they opened a different company in the US called Radiant, and they did the Upfront, and they did a different game. I can't remember the name of it, another card game or something like that. And unfortunately for the designers and the people who were associated with that, the creditors knew that this was still associated with the other company. I mean, it was plastered all over it. So they basically took them to court right as those Kickstarters had finished and had an injunction placed that freezed all those funds. And now they were just left dangling. They did end up ultimately reaching some type of settlement, and the guy who was getting sued said that it was dismissed. It was not dismissed. He had to pay because he owed, and it was quite obvious that he had set up a shell company to defraud basically his creditors. He still wanted to keep making money without paying the people that he owed. And it's sad, if you look in some of the comments, some people are talking about 10-year anniversaries of when this Kickstarter started and never deliver. And it's just so sad for these people. The last update was in April of 2015. That's 7 years ago. They finally put an update, and it says, we finally concluded the lawsuit with Phil, and this has left our company depleted of all resources, as most would understand happens from lawsuits. Well, dude, it wouldn't have happened had you just paid the guy what you admitted that you owed him the money. And it was his original company, Valley, and then he opened Radiant, and they went after both, basically saying that Radiant's associated is obvious, and there was Valley stuff all over it. And then he goes back trying to scrub it and get rid of it and separate the two. No, they're two separate companies. No, they're really not. We're unable to push the status updates during this time, and now that the case has been it was not dismissed, it was settled. There's a difference. Dismissed means you didn't lose. Settled means you finally paid something. But the people who basically backed the Kickstarter, that Kickstarter was now Radiant Valley's money, so it ended up getting seized, and that's so sad because there was another guy who got caught up in it. I had it pulled up a second ago. I think I lost it, but anyway, the designer of the other game basically just got screwed, and his name got besmirched. They had the money seized, and now he's associated with this, but it wasn't between him. It was between the publisher and the creditors, not the designer of the game. That's just, it's sad that ended up happening. Now, there are other card games out there. Check out Point Blank if you haven't heard about it yet. It's similar to Upfront. They're fairly different, but at least they're in the same vein. It is sad for all those who did want Upfront and didn't get it. But my whole point in doing all this is to point out a couple that I actually had that happened with me similar with this. So by all means, feel free to put down in your comments any issues that you've had. Thankfully, most of my Kickstarters, like I said, have delivered. Some might not have been the best when they delivered, but they at least delivered. All right, so I'm interjecting in here real quick to toss this one in because for some reason I forgot to add it to the list the other day when I made this video, but definitely gonna add the Everrain to the list, and not for any reason about the game itself per se. I'm assuming it's a game, that's all I can say about it, by Grimlord Games. But unfortunately, my copy and everyone who's in America and Canada and basically North America, I think, all their copies are sitting at Quartermaster because Grimlord never paid the shipping cost. The shipping cost went up. They used the money they had for the rest of the world and basically said, F us, and yeah, you guys won't get it. So everyone else around the world who ordered it got it, but those of us who ordered it here, and this is like 6 years ago, something like that, I don't know, they never delivered. So these people are freaking horrible, and I'm definitely highly upset. I would never back another game by Grimlord again. Not after this. I mean, such huge failures on this part. More than likely, those of us here will never see this, unfortunately. The first one I've got on here, if I had it to do over again, I would not have backed, would be this Mini Quest Adventures. And the problem with this wasn't the fact that I got the game. And thankfully for me, evidently that's a lucky thing, because if we go to the comments and check this, still haven't received anything, still haven't, still waiting, still tracking, still haven't got anything, still haven't received it, still no game, still taking legal action, and we're sorry, you haven't received this one, blah, blah, blah. Any news about my game? Still waiting. And then they start posting these, and this is months ago, saying that your order was returned to us. What do you mean your order? And they were posting that on multiple people. So just a slew of people are now posting up saying that they got scammed and they didn't get anything. And it's months and they're not really putting out any information. They're no longer responding to people. And that's just... don't do that. If you do a Kickstarter, you have to deliver it. You have to bring it to the people. They'll never forgive you. Your name's mud from then on, right? And I will blast you every chance I get. Any reviewer will blast you for not delivering. Stuff can happen. I can understand that. If it takes longer, whatever, we'll work with you. But no, do you not deliver? And what was the name of this company? I think it was Jandu, something like that. Where's it at? Yeah, Jandu Soft was the name of this company. They had almost 5,000 backers. And the reason I backed this one was because it was cheap. Honestly, it was cheap. And it looked decent. And I was like, well, I'm wagering like $30 on it. Yeah, I'll take the chance. I think they caught me on a whim. When did this... I can't see when it actually backed, but it was a while back. I had a little more money then than I did now. And since, my biggest regret on this is the rulebook was garbage. I just could not figure out the game. I play huge ass war games, right? Shit that has hundreds of pages of rules associated with it. And I could not wrap my head around what they were trying to get here. And I think part of the problem is that they weren't native English speakers. And I don't know, maybe they just Google translated the rule book, but it did not cross over well. And I kept trying to figure it out. And I was like, oh, I don't know what this shield thing means. And what are you trying to get across here? The basics of the game were there, but there were some mechanics I never could understand. The premise was a little dungeon delver. Right? You had your little hero boards here, multiple different types of heroes, and they could gain equipment and skills and things like that. And the part that I liked is it had a little flip book with it that had the different levels and dungeons that you could go through. So once you did this little map, whatever page you're on, you flip over and you go to the next one and you keep on going. I think it was like 5 to get through the dungeon to face the big baddie, and the enemies were little tokens, which were a huge pain in the ass. Once I actually started playing the game. Look, you see here the 48 game tokens. Those tokens were like that damn big. That didn't work. Now, one of the things they did is they had a 3D printing STL files that end up coming with this. And I actually printed those out and I painted them up. They came real good. I was like, okay, cool. So the character minis were all right. I was good with those, but the little monster minis, the little tokens were so damn tiny. Yeah, see the STL files. So you didn't get these minis. You had to print them out. So you had to have a printer yourself. Definitely with as small as they were, it had to be a resin printer. It couldn't be a different type, the one that uses PLA. FDM printer, that's the one I'm thinking of. But the minis themselves were actually pretty decent. The files, I was actually pleasantly surprised with that. The rest of it though, the rules were the worst. You could not play the game. And it doesn't matter about any of this other stuff. The stretch goals, the tokens, the cards, all this other stuff that's unlocked, because if the rules are garbage and you can't even play it, what do you got? You got nothing. And that's ultimately what I ended up with. Sadly, I did sit down not long after this came in, and it came in a few months back, and I sat down and went over, I got it all set up, and then I couldn't get through the rules. I just couldn't play it. I never actually rolled a dice for this game, ever. I had it all sitting out. I was even going to film it. And I was like, no, I'm not wasting my time on this. Now, supposedly they have put out some updated rules on BGG, and I just can't be bothered, honestly, at this point to sit down and go over it again. The components are so damn small. It was irritating, and it left such a bad taste in my mouth the first time I sat down with it that I don't want to poke around at it again. I might pull it out some point and just check the rules and see how well they do. But what really is pissing me off is the fact that so many people now are asking where their copy is here in the comments. That's unforgivable. How are you not delivering, and how are you not responding to anyone? The game wasn't that expensive. Let's see. Hold up. We're going to do some rough math. They got almost 130,000 for almost 5,000 backers. Let's pull up some math here. We're going to type in these numbers and see how much they got per backer. 371 divided by 48.57 equals. They got roughly 27 pounds per person that backed this. So looks like most people backed at the basic level right here. Yeah, they had a couple levels of early bird, and it seems like they had a fair amount there at the 29 level, but I guess, yeah, between this, they had about 1,000 at the first early bird. I was at the second early bird at 26, and I don't get that. I mean, don't do that. Don't early bird 1, 2, and 3. Just have the damn price and be done with it. Instead of charging everyone a pound or two difference, they should have just made the base cost 27 pounds and just left it. My guess is that the funds were grossly mismanaged. They probably weren't prepared for how successful that it was. They originally were only asking for a few thousand, and they ended up getting a lot more than that. So they probably mismanaged those funds and thought they had more available than they would have. But between the rules and the fact that they didn't deliver, definitely the second on my list. This next one is the top on my list that I definitely wish I didn't back. Is not even a game. This one is oh my God, do they still have late pledges open? Let me, lost your survey, get your survey. Okay, well, it doesn't look like they're still trying to sell it, thankfully. They had 13,000 euros that were pledged on this. It did not go that big. This was a campaign for movement templates for XWing. Now, I will give it to them. They had one thing that did not work in their favor. What they had is they had cool little design. So it had X-Wings or TIE Fighters or Slave One, Boba Fett ship. And you could get a tray, it was magnetized, had all the maneuver templates, right? So little plastic pieces you would put in front of your ships to move them around. Cool idea, like it. Their problem was the fact that right as they finished this Kickstarter, the company that owned XWing at the time, FFG, Fantasy Flight Games, they switched over to the second edition of the game. Now, that changed the templates just a little bit. It put some marks on them. They could have just finished out their campaign as it was. They didn't know that little update, the second edition, got dropped on everyone. So I would not have faulted them had they just delivered what they originally promised, because they could not have anticipated the second edition. However, they decided to hold back and go with updating it to the second edition so people would be able to easily use these templates, because otherwise they probably wouldn't have done that well. People wouldn't have liked it. So you see here what the trays were supposed to look like, and they looked really cool. Magnets in the side so you can keep them all in there. Nice little acrylic top and all the pieces. And I think you could get other stuff with it. Yeah, you see how you can pop the little pieces out. You had pick a design. I could have swore you could have added other things to it. They actually had some nice designs. I think the X-Wing was what I originally had picked. And I could have swore you could get multiple levels with it. Yeah, you could get the numbers on there. And I picked the one that had numbers because I wanted that on there. It just added some other extra little markings for the second edition. Stretch goals. I could have swore. Oh, yeah. Because that was the problem too. They didn't deliver even the stretch goals. Yep, this is what it was. You could add these pieces to it so you could keep all your little components together. Your range rulers, little bomb markers. So you would have the tray and you would stack all these things on top of each other. And you could add this stuff, and then you could even add a little token holder to it. Great. I mean, look, boom. Have all your stuff there. Looks so cool. Great idea. They didn't ship shit. I mean, not shit. Got people. These were the stretch goals that people were offered. So it was like first a little marker template, and then range 1 ruler, range 2 ruler, carrying bag, and then the range 3 ruler was unlocked. So they got all that. And it says here they didn't meet this goal, but I could have swore they did. Scroll up to the top. How much did they get? They got 12.9. So that would have been there. That would have been in, wouldn't it? Yeah. Look at this. So they were supposed to get a dice set too. And here's the thing, right? When it came to it. So $5 or €5 for some custom stuff. I don't think they charged enough, to be honest with you. So it shows all the little add-ons. You could have just spacers or for different tokens, the extra range rulers if you wanted, different designs on the range rulers, tournament ship holders, so you could just stack your little ships there. I mean, they came up with a lot of cool stuff. I'm actually surprised it didn't do bigger than it did, but X-Wing wasn't quite as big. It took off a little more in the second edition. The problem came when it came down to delivery, because they didn't deliver hard. Never got anything from these people. I had multiple friends that I had convinced to back. You're like, oh, look at this. This is so cool, man. Check this out. You should check it out. Get it. And I felt bad that I talked some of my buddies into it, because some of them got it. Some of them didn't. The ones that didn't get everything, because all those stretch goals, not all of them delivered. Like, some people were getting some stretch goals. Some were getting all of them. They shipped nothing. Absolutely nothing with a tracking number. And I think they shipped it all themselves rather than having a third-party company, kind of like Quartermaster or someone like that, do it. They did all of this themselves, and they just destroyed themselves. And look at this. Someone's commenting, I cannot believe this. Backed in November 2017 and arrives November 2021. 4 years. It's a Christmas miracle. They're asking if they improved the printing quality, because the printing quality was not good from what I was told. a lot of people were getting, say, yep, the printing is bad, all washed out, but it was the right image at least. I wonder if he even got the stretch goals. Didn't mention. This one, I'm going to comment on this page every 6 months till I die. Make sure you keep track of their social merchandise and comment so no one else makes a mistake of ordering from these scammers. Because this company is called Magic Works Games. I think I made a video about them before, but I make sure to comment on them every now and then and let people know. Do not order from them, because they started selling stuff retail for XWing and for other games. So some of this stuff, so stuff backers had not received, they were selling on like their Facebook and store page. And you would go to their Facebook page and they were constantly deleting comments, because anytime they would post some advertisement, they were getting inundated with comments going, where's my this? Where's my this? I paid you for this and I got nothing. Just multitude of comments. So you would see a post advertising whatever they were now selling, and then underneath it, you would see something like 20, 30 comments. But when you clicked on it, nothing's showing, right? So they've removed all the comments from it. They might have one that they had like a family member put up or something saying, oh, this looks awesome. You could tell it, shill or something like that for them. Horrible company. They just stopped responding to people. They just, we're going to wash our hands of it. I got a multitude of emails from them for a little bit. They would email me and say something stupid like, oh, it's on its way. We're looking into it. And I think the last email I got from them was, we sent it, it's your problem. Right. And you would ask for a tracking number and they're like, well, we could have paid more for tracking, but we couldn't afford it. So we didn't ship with tracking. And it's like, why are you shipping it anyway? Just you come up with a deal with UPS or whoever, some shipping company, get a bulk deal. You're going to be shipping out a lot of stuff. You don't backyard this shit and try to sell it all, ship it all out yourself, because you're paying like retail shipping cost. There's no way you can afford that. I think they ran out of money and they just stopped, right? They claim to be doing upgrades. I remember that now after seeing some of the comments. They're like, we're hearing some comments about the printing quality, so we're looking into that. We're going to do some upgrades to it. I don't see anyone with any of these. I've been to plenty of tournaments, especially before COVID started. Never saw any of these around. These people just were the worst. They had a very nice product. It looked great, and they just never came through on it. I mean, look at these comments. This is your space to offer support and feedback. Remember to be constructive. There's a human behind this project. Yeah, pretty sure there's nothing behind this project Kickstarter. On 4 occasions, and that sounds about right. I got about 4 or 5 emails from them total. They've actually responded to my emails for an update, even showed me pictures of the damaged templates they were redoing. In each conversation, they would promise goods by a certain date, and that's what they did with me. They kept saying, yeah, we're going to get them to you. We're going to get them to you. Like, no, you're not. When that date goes by, they ghost me, and then someone else answers months later, and the process starts again. Lost faith in Kickstarter from this company's shady business practice. Very disappointed. They think this is an acceptable way to run a business. Amazing. Over 200 pledged, and I never received a single item, nor an apology or an explanation. Terrible way to do business. Disappointed. But I mean, look at this. This guy had to have gotten multiple of them, probably for him and his kids, his buddies, whoever, and got nothing. They just took his money and bolted. All right, and just to show you, these people are still active. So this company's still doing its thing. Magic Works Games, here it is. Boom, here's the stuff that they're putting out, and it's all like accessories for other games. You see Blood Bowl markers, right, that they're showing here. Let's see what they've got for X-Wing. Star Wars X-Wing compatible template trays. Let's see. Oh my God, they're selling it, you mother fudgers. Oh, look at this stupid shit. Oh no, it says it's out of stock. It's out of stock. Okay. I was getting ready to say, you shady mofos. I wonder if they're ever going to get any of those back in stock. Compatible tokens. Yep, because I remember they had these available as well. they still have some of these token sets left. I had a buddy that actually got some of these, and I think he actually got them, which is surprising. They're out of the token holder, which was part of that Kickstarter, but these tokens were part of it. They either added that in as an option later or something, but they're still selling it. See what they got for mats. Yeah, they've got mats. They've got mats, and it's available to be bought right now. What is Plucky Penguins? Clear bases, fantasy football. Look at this Blood Bowl stuff. Yeah. So the company is still in business, and I would just recommend avoiding them, because if you buy anything from them and you don't get it, you're not going to get it. They won't refund you. They won't contact you back. They won't acknowledge it. And all of it's third-party stuff. A lot of it just the little acrylic pieces that they're printing out on their own. Looks like they made one game, Plucky Penguins, probably a crappy little game. Forgive me if it's not associated, if it's not their game, but I really do not like this. Do not like these people. So yeah, wholeheartedly avoid them. Definitely a company you do not want to support, because anyone who's going to do this, not deliver on their Kickstarters, definitely one you want to avoid. All right, and lastly on the list, yeah, you know I'm messing with you. Compass Games is great. I wanted to definitely toss out props to one group of people, you know, the good ones out there. I had back this one, NATO, way back when. Compass Games, if you get any of their Kickstarters, usually you get it within a matter of months. Whenever they launch a Kickstarter, their stuff's ready to go. So you'll have it in just a few months in your hands, and they have never failed to deliver. And if there's ever been anything wrong with it, like a errata or a broken piece or something like that, they are quick to get it fixed. I know I was talking about bad Kickstarters, but I wanted to talk about at least one company that does well with what they do. So tossing out Compass, it was the first one that was good on my list as I was scrolling through stuff that I had backed. But anyway, yeah, definitely go down to the comments and post any issues you've had with Kickstarters. I'm willing to bet I'll have at least one person saying something like Upfront or Evil Dead, the board game, the one that never released from the original company, but someone else did finally actually release the game, which was good on them. All right, but that's going to be it for me for this one. You guys take care. I'll catch you in the next one.